All right, listen up. So it's been a little bit since I made a video, and as you can hear, it's nice little noise and commotion in the background. Just went through a blackout power outage situation at a big portion of the city. So it was pretty significant, and it lasted 2 hours. Now, there was a lot of craziness going on. There's a lot of people, they resort to chaos, and there was road accidents and stuff like that, emergency services. You hear the sirens going off and everything from all different type of responders. And it's important to know, to be able to tell the difference between the different sirens, to know which type of vehicle, depending on, well, we in the United States, so you should know this. If you don't, then I suggest you do your research and figure it out. But you can tell the difference, 9 times out of 10, depending on where you at. So, that situation happened, and a lot of people resorted to chaos. A lot of people, they didn't stay calm. Everybody just tried to get in their vehicles and just try to pull off. There's mass panic outside. Not that many people compared to like a riot, but it was a significant of people in the city blocks, in the neighborhoods, panicking, walking outside, trying to get to their vehicles. People just sitting in their cars idle with the lights on, thinking that they're going to be safe, or that's a safer situation. Just sit in the vehicle with the lights on in pitch black darkness where everybody can see you. Anything can happen to you at that moment. That's a big vulnerability. Then on top of that, what I didn't mention is that there was a lot of there was some significant snowfall where it could have been black ice because it wasn't a lot of snow, but it was snow, and it just so happened to be the first day of snow. And I looked at the advisory while this was going on, and of course you got to check to see if cell phone towers are still working. So the advisory, it was severe weather, so you got over 30-mile-per-hour winds going on in the beginning of this, before the blackout even occurred. Over 30-mile-per-hour winds going on, and as soon as that wind picked up, the blackout just came all of a sudden. So maybe I would say maybe like 10 minutes before the blackout, the 30-mile-per-hour winds, stuff started picking up. Over 30 miles per hour, sorry. And that happened, and you got to take into account in that it's the first day of snowfall. That's been going on all day. So the blackout hit at nightfall, right? So the first day of snow, okay, it's today, in which early in the morning, that's when the snow started. So it's been constantly like flaking, you know what I'm saying? But it's not significant amount of snow. Then the black ice advisory come around. So you got to understand that. Now, if it's already road accidents and stuff happening because the weather is bad and all this and that, then we talking about before the blackout. Why would you then, especially if you don't have this intel, but if you could just walk outside and see the weather is this bad, and you live in maybe you live in a state where you get snow, a winter state or whatever, such as myself, I live in a winter state. So this is normal, us being able to tell black ice conditions. You definitely don't want to be on the road during that time unless you really have to, unless it's an emergency. And you have to know how to drive in these conditions. So a lot of people are not trained on basic stuff like this. And they panic and they get out there and then they drive, and like you hear more sirens, okay? Accidents, people hitting trees, or they hitting cars or fender benders or whatever, or it could be fatal because you want to get paranoid and jump in your vehicle as soon as there's a blackout. Some of these people don't have no destination. Why would you leave your house and you don't have a second location planned out in this type of situation to go to? You don't have some type of second location marked down, or you never went through any type of drills with your family or any type of group of people that you with. You don't have no survival gear, no safety, or no type of survival situation, type of preparation going on, and you got to, like, you can hear people in the background in this video. Okay, so I'm around my family, so now everybody know the drill already. Okay, so if you got relatives and you ain't trained them up, or even friends or whatever, and they haven't been prepped for survival. I'm not talking about, You got to be some crazy maniac that believe in some weird conspiracy theory about the world is going to end in 5 days or whatever. I'm not talking about that. You don't even, or even a prepper. You don't have to be these fanatical type of, to the far on that side type of individuals to be prepared for this stuff. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with preppers or people that do extreme survival training. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, they got an advantage when something like this happens because they're already prepared. I just believe that some people take this too far to where they just go into the deep end with it. They always thinking it's going to be World War III, all this crazy crap. I mean, you got to look at American history and world history. Okay, like me, I'm inside of America, so every time people try to say it was World War III, it's just a bunch of talk. It's just a bunch of talk. Everybody get their guns out in their military, they get prepared, and it's just a bunch of talk. So guess what? At the end of the day, excuse me for a second. At the end of the day, there's no World War III. Now, you could believe what you want to believe and say, oh, well, that didn't happen because of this, that, and the third. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is, there hasn't been a nuclear war. There hasn't been a World War III. Nobody wants that. Russia don't want it. United States don't want it. China. Nobody wants to get hit with nuclear weapons. All right? So when you look at that aspect and say, well, all of these people are talking about, well, it's going to be World War III. We might as well start prepping and digging in shelters. That's good if that situation is about to happen. But then they play off of it. Well, we don't know if that's going to happen. That's the politics of that. Okay? So you don't have to be an extreme person off into the deep end thinking that there's going to be some thermonuclear war going on or whatever. And now with this situation with the politics of Ukraine and Taiwan, everybody wants to get paranoid all over again. That's in that arena. Okay? And people play off of that to get money. Yeah. You can sell a lot of survival gear. You can sell a lot of supplies. It's just like what they did in Y2K. You can sell a lot of stuff because people are paranoid that, oh, Y2K, year 2000, all this stuff going to shut down. And what happened? People went to Walmart. They started buying up everything, batteries, all type of stuff. The same thing with the COVID-19 situation when people was fighting over tissue. All in my state, across other states, people were fighting over tissue. COVID-19, people were really in Walmart fighting. And tissue wasn't the only thing. So you got to understand, a lot of people panic. What I'm trying to get to is, I'm not down in preppers and all of that. I'm saying don't go off into the deep end because you can get caught up in the chaos. You can get emotionally thrown off. Okay, I'm trying to motivate you to do some type of safety survival preparation. You should be buying some type of survival gear for your family in case of a natural disaster or any type of emergency. But I'm not going to tell you to go off on a deep end. That's your choice. But you should get the training, all right? Learn how to hike, do a survival hike, learn how to do backpacking or camping. Learn these things, all right? Learn them for your survival, for your family, all right? Get the right type of gear. Practice drills, tornado drills, and all this stuff is good because you never know when something's crazy going to happen, but you shouldn't be hoping and wishing that something's crazy going to happen or saying, oh, it's going to happen. You should just be prepared just in case it happens, okay? You should be prepared, all right? Not paranoid to where you're going off the deep end. You should be prepared. So, like I said, when the power gets cut on and stuff like that, you just survived another blackout, all right? Because the electric company did their job and it wasn't that terrible. But it could have been a different situation. The situation could have been that it was mainly, it could have been for something more like terrorism. It could have been anything, right? You never know. It could be natural disaster where they can't fix the power within 2 hours or within 3 hours or whatever, right? Okay, so you got to be prepared for that. Now, I went out and did a perimeter check, all right, because that's obviously, if you train, you know what I'm talking about. You should do some type of perimeter check to see what's going on in the outside world, to see what the weather is like. You want to feel the weather. You just want to be on your phone, oh, the cell phone tower's still working, and say, no, you want to go out there and you want to test the weather yourself. Now, the winds was blowing very, very, very bad. But it wasn't like it was going to topple me over or something like that. But it was bad enough to know where you shouldn't be driving unless you really have to. And plus, with the black ice type of thing and the snow, that's just, first day of snow, you don't want to leave unless you really have to, okay? So you want to figure out what's going on. And if you do leave, you want to have that second location already planned out, all right? Because it might not be that bad, where in my situation, all you had to do is just wait for them to cut the power back on, secure your housing or secure the place that you got, secure it. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that everything is safe, the doors, the windows, and all of that. Do rounds, outside rounds and inside rounds. Okay, it doesn't matter if you live in a house or a condominium, a mansion, apartment building, or whatever. Okay, you need to do these rounds. There need to be security checks and security rounds. Have some type of comm system. All right, have some type of communication, some type of you could call it tactical communication, whatever, military communication. You need to have that. Okay, as a civilian, you need to have that. Learn that stuff. You need to have that. You guys need to know how to do hand signs and talking over radios, or if it's VoIP or cell phones, whatever. You need to be able to know how to communicate, because that military style communication, or communicating like an intel operative, is very effective. It's short-handed. You don't have to say 30 words for a whole sentence to communicate, to relay information. You want to be able to speak as quick as possible and relay a lot of information using less words, because your life could be in danger. People could be looting out there, right? Neighborhood looting. Don't think of a mall or the crazy situation that you see on the news. Think of it right in your own neighborhood. It can happen. It can happen in your neighborhood. Everything starts in by the housing units first. Then they go downtown and start looting. People that don't live down there, if you live in a residential area like I do, chaos is going to start right where you at. It's going to start there first. All right? You could tell bad signs by people busting windows. People may be trying to bust house windows or breaking into houses, or that's when it's really bad. So that's why you got to go outside and do a perimeter check. You got to do a reconnaissance round. All right? Whatever you want to call this. You want to get some intel on what's going on out there. You want to check your vehicle. You want to not being seen, though. Okay? You don't want to be looking at your cell phone, having your light all on bright, all this and that. Cell phone light. Like people was out there with their cell phone lights, just letting everybody know they was there. And it's pitch black. Nobody can, so anything could happen. That person could have got snatched up. Some of these women and men could get snatched up easily, very easily, by people that you don't even know who got the capability to do that. But you just out there like that, like a goofy. Because 9 times out of 10, the goofy stuff is happening because they're not trained. So you want to get situational awareness. You want to get training. You don't want to be so paranoid to where if you go outside and you accidentally see somebody, you get spooked and then you stab them or something. No, you don't want to do that type of stuff. You want to be level-headed, okay? There's a way for you to go outside and to do rounds and checks without being seen, okay? Without being noticed. And if you do be seen, you can act normal, and you could just act like you out there just trying to figure out what's going on without drawing too much attention, okay? Without looking suspicious, okay? And make sure you don't get too close to people, of course, because you don't know what state of mind they in. It's pitch black dark. They can have a weapon on them. You don't know. So you don't want to be standing still after you see somebody looking spooked. You know, you want to keep it moving. Okay? You want to know how to blend in. You want to know body language, and it's a lot of stuff to learn. This is just a short video to reflect on the motivation of you do need to have some type of crisis management training and some type of situational awareness training, and you need to have that military readiness. You need to have that. I don't care if you served in the military or not. You need to have this training. And I'm very surprised that America don't have these type of initiatives going on long time ago, years ago. Seeing that America been through all of this nonsense, that certain countries like Israel, they want to prep their people, you know, to a certain extent. America's long overdue for some type of national preparation training for civilians, okay? But we live in a time where a lot of civilians is looked at as a threat by the government, and that's sad. You know, civilians should be trained. You know, all this divide and conquer stuff going on, that's what's messing the country up. If something bad happens, like a natural disaster or an active shooter situation or terrorism, a lot of people don't know what to do. The government ain't running around trying to train people to be ready for this type of stuff. Countries like Russia and Israel are doing a certain type of training with their civilians to an extent. You know, that stuff is over the wire, but, you know, we don't know to what extent these countries are doing training with their civilians, but they got some type of reassurance, all right, in their school systems, and in their way they run a military and stuff like that, the way it's a little bit, their national, I don't want to say patriotism or nationalism, but their level of national prestige is at a different level than the United States when it comes to a natural disaster or invasion, take care of their people. Now, I'm not saying Americans don't have some type of system, but the system is broken here. So that's why I'm motivating people with this message. Start getting some type of training. Americans, if they keep looking at each other as the enemy, and I'm talking about civilians and government, I'm not just talking about government. If you look at the average person out there, your neighbor or somebody, as the enemy, as soon as a blackout happened or something crazy happened or whatever, okay, you automatically, you have a problem on your hands. You have a problem on your hands because that paranoia and that mindset can drive you to do crazy things. That's what start the madness. All right. When I grew up, people used to help people. When the Y2K happened and I was younger, you know, everybody was trying to help people that was in my neighborhood. It wasn't no, oh, no, stay back. No, we don't come close. Just stay back. Don't come to our house. We're doing us, okay? Just don't bother us. Just leave us alone. Get away from the door. None of that. All right. People was helping each other. They were already buying stuff because they believed the end of the world was near. So people had stockpiled food, batteries, and people were helping people survive. The community was more like, hey, we got to watch out for outsiders, than it was like it is now. How I see it. How I see it now is I don't see that many people helping people, okay? Unless you in some type of militia community or something like that, or some type of prepper group or whatever, where you got a group of people they unified, they already think like this. 9 times out of 10, the average American citizen is not going to want to help another American citizen. That's sad. That is very sad. And you don't know what the government is going to do in that situation. You don't know. The government can say whatever they want to say. And when the stuff hit the fan, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to do. So we're living in times where the unity is bad. Unity is very bad. And you have to secure your families, number one. You know, you need to think about your families, or if you got a group of people that you call your family, y'all, whatever your group is, secure your group, all right? Make sure your kids are safe. Make sure you got survival food that don't have to rely on a refrigerator, and you got days of food. If your finances ain't that well to get that stuff, I understand. Wait till you build it up then. Work on a goal to get at that level. You know, there needs to be some type of planning because, hey, I have looked at so much stuff over the wire where they talked about blackouts coming, this, and that. And these are official government documents and official stuff from the electrical companies, all right, and other companies. The business world and the government report on a lot of stuff, and people don't pay attention to it. That's nothing. It's hocus pocus. And people, they do that. A lot of people dismiss that. And when something like this happened, the first thing comes to my mind, they said that a lot of this stuff was going to happen the next, 5-6 years or whatever they said. So keep your ears to the ground, all right? Stay ready. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to what the government is saying, what the business world is saying, because sometimes it's not all propaganda. Sometimes they're letting you know that, hey, it's a problem going on with the utility, blah, 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 blah. We're looking at the next 10 years, this stuff might be happening. Get your families prepared or whatever, and then they won't say nothing no further. Or the media might leak something out there officially that they can do, and just to get you to say that we told you, okay? The government do a lot of stuff to tell people that, it's not our fault, we told you. All they got to do is say something one time. They ain't got to say it again. All they got to do is tell you something one time. After that, hey, you didn't get the memo? Hey, memorandum. We said this to the media. We said this. We put it out there. This company put it out there. We're not going to say it 30,000 times. And that's all they need to do to cover the next 5 to 10 years, is to make a statement about the next 5 to 10 years. So start paying attention, okay? That stuff comes in handy. Drills, survival drills. Like I said, all this stuff. I'm motivating people with my words to just get it done for your safety of your family, Just care about yourselves and your family. That's all my motivation is today. And don't think about nothing paranoid, no nothing negative. And hey, it'll help you survive. Because right now, I'm hearing the normal noises that I should hear. Okay? I'm hearing the normal noise. Everything is back to normal. I did another round after the power came back on to see how the community, to do a little surveillance round on the community to see if everybody was good. Those little recon rounds or whatever you want to call them, those little perimeter checks, they come in handy. Okay? Especially since, I know how to do them, so bam, I'm the first one to go. Bam. Okay? And then, hey, I see everything's good, green light, everything's all good. Community, everything back to normal, everything back to normal operations. Nothing to worry about. If you don't know what's going on outside and you inside paranoid, that's another bad thing. Now, there is times where you have to move and get on the go. For instance, okay, if you have any type of training about refrigerators going out or any type of survival training, the refrigerator has about 4 hours. Okay, when it hit 4 hours, that's when you don't want to eat whatever's in there. Now, some people will say, "Oh, well, the freezer lasts longer." And listen, there's a general basis theory of training that you don't want to eat nothing in that refrigerator or freezer 4 hours or more. Okay, because of food safety problems. Listen, food poisoning is more worse in a blackout than anything. And I have thrown away lots of food multiple times through blackouts and other situations before, for years. After 4 hours or more, I throw it out. Okay, I don't trust it. If you constantly open the fridge, obviously the coldness is going to leave it. So don't open the fridge unless you need to go inside it for something. This is for people that don't have training, if they hunker down. This is just a little advice and motivation. All right? You research this stuff. Don't take my word. Learn this stuff on your own. Learn this stuff on your own. You need it. For children's sake. If you have babies or children, there's specialized training for that. And you don't have to be in the military to know how to deal with this. You don't have to be in the CIA or something. You get your own training, okay? And you learn how to deal with this stuff. All right? Babies need, especially with what level of age they are, formula, milk, their food, their little baby cereal, whatever. You got to have survival food for them too. Because they're not going to last that long in a survival situation if you're not prepared for them. And you got adult food, survival food, basically. And you ain't got nothing for the kids. So people in city areas really need this training, really need to start thinking like this. Because a lot of them people out in them firm towns and firm lands, they already got a sense of survival, okay? And they need training too, but their rural area situation is different than yours. So you need this situation. Don't just go running out in the middle of the streets. You living in a city area and hop in your vehicle and try to drive off and thinking that you're finna joyride and that's gonna fix situation. It's not. All right? If you leave your house unsecured and you go to another relative house, now guess what? If you didn't take all your valuable assets that you need in survival, I'm not talking about your dressers and your beds. I'm talking about real assets, real survivable assets. Guess what? Somebody kick in the doors, bust the windows out, and all that stuff's gone, or they ravage the place, or whatever, or it's set on fire, or whatever. Okay? Also, if you got to leave from one place to another, you don't want people seeing you leave. You want to minimize that footprint, that exposure, because if they see you leave, now they know the house is empty. Or they will assume the house is empty. If you left vulnerable relatives or friends inside the house, maybe they can't move or whatever, and you're trying to go out to get help or whatever. And now if somebody come kick the door in or whatever, go through the window, now they're going to do whatever they want to do to them because you left them there at their disposal because you were seen leaving. So you got to get trained. You got to have situational awareness. You don't have to be over paranoid. You just have to be logical about the situation. You have to be logical, all right? You don't got to be some Green Beret special forces. You just got to be logical, all right? It's good to have them type of people around if you got them, but you need your own training because those type of people ain't going to be there to help you all the time anyway. So 9 times out of 10, So just take my motivation, think about what I'm saying. You can criticize me all you want, but I'm just trying to motivate you to get the proper training. And this video is for people that really don't have no training at all. Go get some training. Go get some gear. Go get that survival food. Get that stuff. Stockpile. to the level that you need it. Okay? Learn how to go survival out there in the woods or out there in the different climates. Take the courses. Get your money up so that you can do this if you don't have the money situation. Families need to come together and pool their money for this type of stuff to invest in themselves to get this type of training. It's an investment in you to help your kids survive and then you survive. Because when the stuff hit the fan, government ain't gonna be around to help save you. It's not that many government employees anyway. How many city cops are gonna come around? They got a lot of stuff on their hands when the crisis go down. If a major flood plus a blackout, or a flood and a blackout, and then this or whatever added on, tornado warning coming and all this and that or whatever, they got a lot to do themselves when a natural disaster or a crisis happen. They're not gonna have time to be trying to sit there and help you and your family when there's so many other people that need help that they got priority over. It may be some shooting going on or something going on where they got to go to a call. They're not going to be available. First responders ain't going to be available 9 times out of 10. You're going to be your own first responder for your family. Your family is going to have that training to make it, to stay alive. And then after that, maybe you can make it to somewhere where if you really need some help, you get that help. But it starts with you and your family. Secure your families. All right? Stop relying on the government only. All right? Civilians need to do their due diligence and do their part to secure their own families and to get that training. Okay? It starts with you. Don't just sit back and be lazy relying on the government. That's not going to work. In no scenario. Even for them paranoid World War III type of guys or whatever. Hey, okay, something pop off, nuclear explode. Okay, now what? The martial law coming, all type of call protocols in place, all type of shelter protocol. What? What's going to happen to you? You live in a residential neighborhood. What? Somebody's going to come flying in through a Black Hawk helicopter, something come pick you up? I can wiggle my lips on that because guess what? Yeah, that's not going to happen. So you need to be your own extraction team. Okay? You need to be your own extraction team. You do. Learn it. Learn insertion and extraction. Learn that herbal tactical movement for survival. Okay? You don't have to have no guns or weapons. You just need to learn the movements. Learn that military tactical stuff for survival, because if the stuff do hit the fan, people are going to be hunting out there. They're going to be hunting humans for supplies and resources. If it get that bad. Now, we just talking about a simple blackout. But if you get all this training that goes to that range, when the small natural disasters or the small disasters, because we're going to say small, because you can die in any one of them, but the likelihood of, like I said, the power's on restoration. The likelihood is levels to this, all right? For the small time stuff, you'll be able to master it if you can get that long-term training for any type of situation, all right? So don't just always think about vacations and hiking as something. It's something to learn for your survival too. If you invest into your survival, get in a survival instructor or somebody, or just get in somebody to train you, ex-military, whatever, active military, whoever gonna listen. If you can contract them and pay them, intelligence officer, whatever, they can teach you how to survive. Invest that money into your family, into yourself. Do that stuff. All right, learn tactical driving for evasive drive. You know, you got people trying to run people off the road. This still gonna be like, if it's a real chaotic situation, it'd be like Mad Max in its own way though. So you don't want to be mobile and not know what to do. You don't want to be at your house not knowing what to do. You don't want to be outside not knowing what to do, or going to the next checkpoint, whoever house you, to the next relatives. You know, you're rounding up everybody. You don't want to not have the survival training. And we're not trying to think about violence as the first thing. We're trying to think about your water supply, your food supply, your shelter, your heat, stuff that human beings need to survive. After that, yes, after that kick in, you're going to think, okay, well, now our physical safety, all this other property safety, all that stuff kicks in. But you want to be well-rounded. You want to have all 360 of this training, all these things. It's all needed. Self-defense training, everything is needed, because you're going to have to use everything. In a crisis, in a survival situation, you may have to use it. Okay? Now, you don't have to kill nobody to get the job done, to defend yourself. You don't have to shoot anybody, to be honestly. Hand-to-hand combat goes a long way. You know, everybody want to pull out a gun. That's that, because guess what? When the power comes back on and somebody tried to rob you or whatever, all this crazy stuff happened. Now you got to go to court. You face a murder charge 9 times out of 10. Because look at the likelihood of the government letting people get off for killing somebody, period, even if it is self-defense. Look how many people that has real self-defense and they still end up in prison. They still get a manslaughter and the people know that they're justified, but the government still want to hold them. Look how many cases of that happen. So the justice system is not really perfect. So start thinking, use your brain. You don't want to have to, use self-defense on a lethal level unless you absolutely have to. Where you can prove without a shadow of a doubt to the government that, hey, it got to be cut and dry. Because if you could do anything else besides killing them, the government going to say, hey, you could have ran or you could have took off. You could have did this. You didn't have to shoot that person. You could have did this. They didn't have this on them. You had this on you and you just did that. Hey, start thinking. Use your brain. Everybody just want to be trigger happy. Nah, it ain't the time, because when electricity come back on, whatever somebody try to do to you, it could have been handled a different way if you had the proper training. Now you could be sitting in prison for life because you didn't have training and you didn't invest in your family and yourself. So think about it. All right? It's motivation to go get the survival gear that you need. Go get the training the survival training that you need. Stay positive. Okay? This is motivation for this. And I hope that you really listen, because you never know what's going to happen. Signing out.